After about 7 hours, I 100%ed Murdered Soul Suspect. I completed the game, attained all the collectibles, and earned every achievement. So let's discuss if this long-forgotten gothic supernatural murder mystery is worth exploring. As always, remember to like, sub, and use the hype button if you're on the mobile application. It helps a great deal, especially in this uncertain time with YouTube AI. Murdered Soul Suspect has players taking on the role of Roland O'Connor. The setting is a panic-stricken Salem, Massachusetts, where the Bell Killer is murdering seemingly unconnected victims. The narrative begins with Ronan being fatally thrown from a window and shot by the Bell Killer at point-blank range. As he initially moves towards the afterlife to join his wife Julia, she informs him that he cannot find peace until he tracks down his killer. Ronan, now a ghost, is limited in how he can interact with the real world. He can possess people, influence their decisions, and see through their eyes, but cannot interact with real-life objects or speak to anyone. His possession skill is also extremely limited, as he's not able to control anyone. Ronan can only pass through objects that are not concentrated and can only enter buildings and exit them if someone opens a door or a window. He can also see the memories of others if the object is significant to that person, or read the minds of other spirits. Ronan eventually tracks down the Bell Killer's true target, a girl named Joy. Joy helps Ronan determine the Bell Killer's identity while searching for her missing mother, who is also a target by the Bell Killer. The two forge a quick partnership, and despite the game taking place in a single night, the bond is realistic. Unlike most modern writing, the two bicker, fight, compromise during dangerous situations, and actively seek justice for what's happening to the people. Joy doesn't trust Ronan at first due to the spirits constantly asking for her help, not to mention she doesn't like cops, considering they also always ask her for help since she's a medium who could communicate with spirits, and Ronan is desperate for any sort of help, seeing that he can't actively interact with the real world. The two reach common ground through actions and understanding. Joy empathizes with Ronan wanting to be with his wife, and Ronan understands that she's just a kid who wants to find her mom and is in a dangerous situation with the Bell Killer. He's still a cop and he wants to save her life. The narrative introduces a wide array of memorable characters, all of whom are integral to the story. These include Ronan's brother-in-law, who is spearheading the Bell Killer investigation, various ghosts who cannot find peace because they died in violent manners, and a tough police officer named Baxter, who is attempted to find the Bell Killer as well, but his allegiance is very dubious. You also meet a priest who is trying to protect Joy and serves more as a side character for most of the journey, but is significant nevertheless. Each character serves a meaningful purpose and continues to contribute significantly to the overall plot. Added to the atmosphere are plentiful random NPCs that you can possess and read their minds. Everything from just locals trying to live their lives, thrill seekers looking for ghost and paranormal activity, or cops doing their job during a difficult time. The mystery of the Bell Killer's motives unfolds through carefully paced storytelling, accumulating a satisfying and definitive ending. This narrative is enhanced by side stories involving other ghosts, deceased individuals who, like Ronan, are unable to move on because they have something clinging to them in the real world. As a detective, Ronan can offer assistance to these spirits in their struggles, but some reject his help. Their refusal stems from denial, an inability to accept their death, or succumb into anger. Spirits who remain in this state of refusal eventually transform into demons, entities of pure rage whose sole purpose is to consume other spirits. Unfortunately, that is as far as the game goes with demons, which is a shame because there's a lot of potential wasted, especially when you kill the demons and you can see their original spirit form slowly getting ripped in half. It's unsure if Roland is forcing them to go into the afterlife, or they're just disappearing completely. The narrative maintains its momentum, constantly progressing to the next key investigation without unnecessary padding. I guess you can look at the side content as padding, but regardless, it's not a requirement in order to continue with the story. The game respects your time, delivering a solid, cohesive conclusion, but I did wish that the game included a better way to skip cutscenes and dialogues, as this is limited to only certain scenes and can make replaying the game very annoying. Regardless, the story is short and very well put together, but considering the expense of the price when the game launched, I can understand why people skip this title. It's short at about 5 hours if you just rush through the story, but nevertheless, it is a very well put together narrative. Murdered Soul Suspect is a third-person action-adventure game that centers on detective work. As Ronin, the player must uncover clues for each investigation and logically combine them. While players are graded based on the number of errors they make, with 3 being the maximum, these grades only serve as personal achievements and do not impact the game's progression. You'll always progress to the next clue no matter what. To move forward in an investigation, the player is presented with a set number of clues and must correctly identify 1 or 3 critical clues that are in a set in order to move on to the next objective. The process is simple and effective, and it still requires critical thinking skills when you navigate the environment, as the game builds on the world building through collectibles. The game has over 200 collectibles and expects a lot more time finding these objects rather than experiencing the game's story. These are surprisingly good, as they provide insight into Ronin and Julia's relationship up until her death, Ronin's childhood, the Bell Killer, and perhaps the most fun are dark crimes committed within Salem. These stories are available during each of the game's semi-open areas and require a set number of objects before they are unlocked, but they're all well worth it. The biggest negative is that the game doesn't tell you that you can be locked out of these collectibles before entering the area called the Judgment House, requiring you to replay the game, but the game does track everything that you've collected, provided that you don't override your save. There's only one save file, and if you override it, then you won't be able to transfer that progression to the new save file. So you have to play without saving if you want to find which collectibles you are missing. But again, the tracking system in this game is very upsettingly annoying. Being a ghost does give Ronin some advantages though. He can pass through anything that isn't concentrated, possess people to gain information through influencing people, reading their thoughts, and see the memories of people through objects they've interacted with if they are profound enough. The biggest danger in the afterlife is demons, hostile spirits unable to move on and kill spirits on sight. These come in 2 forms, patrolling demons and landmine-like demons that grab anything that come within their vicinity. The patrolling ones can be destroyed by sneaking up behind them and ripping the spirit out. If seen, Ronin has to retreat to hiding areas until they lose interest and repeat the process. At its core, combat is very dull and repetitive and lacks any real challenge. It serves mostly as an annoyance. It seems that this was more of an afterthought, because without these combat challenges, there is really no way to fail this game. So I get that they have to include something like this to offer some sort of challenge. And as I stated earlier, the idea of the demons is very interesting. Spirits that have lost their way and essentially have become these mindless monsters. This could have been a very cool exploration element where you would actually assist a demon maybe into reverting back into a spirit, but I guess with time constraints they couldn't do that, or maybe that wasn't in the initial design. Regardless, they're very interesting creatures. It's just something that kind of just gets brushed off to the side, especially the fact that you can see animals within this realm as well, such as ravens, which you can use to distract the demons. I thought that was a cool idea. So do animals also have this type of regret when they pass on? So it's somewhat of an interesting idea, or it could just be gameplay systems that they added. The areas Ronin will explore in Salem are diverse and very well made. You will explore the streets of Salem, a church, cemetery, asylum, and a history museum. Each one is well presented with a lot of combination of living people and ghosts for Ronin to interact with. Added to the atmosphere are the apparitions of ghosts that come in and out of Ronin's view. These simply serve as background graphics, but their inclusion helps sell the creepy supernatural look. You'll see various different people from different settings, and they didn't just place them randomly. You can see people who are sitting down in chairs in the background environment, girls and guys standing together in very creepy moments. You'll even see like hints of Easter eggs from other supernatural and horror films like The Shining if you look close enough. And I swear I think I saw Teddy Roosevelt a few times. Regardless, this is a very well put together game in terms of atmosphere, and it shows throughout the game, especially with the soundtrack that brings everything together. I feel like sound design isn't given the necessary complementary features that it deserves, but in this case they really nailed the sound design, the atmosphere, the presentation. I feel like if you're a big fan of gothic mysteries, that you're going to love this game. Murdered Soul Suspect is a compelling but short supernatural murder mystery with a strong gothic atmosphere that does the job in its short 5-hour runtime. The protagonist Ronin is a compelling, gritty detective with a lot of stereotypes driven by his desire to not only be reunited with his wife, but also solve the Bell Killer case and also save this young girl. The supporting characters effectively heighten the urgency of the central conflict by underscoring the brutality of the Bell Killer's campaign. The game also enhances its rich world building with compelling sections of ghost stories, demonstrating that Ronan is not alone in his unresolved suffering. This fantastically crafted, dark, and atmospheric world populated with menacing demons and ghosts, along with just the overall presentation of lingering spirits everywhere, just adds to the supernatural thrill. The sheer number of collectibles can be annoying, but they offer enough incentive to keep gathering them, with short stories about the Bell Killer, learning about the ghosts within Salem, and so many other opportunities to learn about this world. And the combat, while poor, is only forced onto players during a handful of sections. Regardless, Murdered Soul Suspect is one of those games that really tried something different and did it well. If you're starving for something new and different, Ronan's Adventure for Justice should be on your radar. It's unfortunate that the developer closed down before the game's full release, but it feels like a game that could have been something special if Square Enix allowed them to foster this idea. Regardless, I really think that this is worth exploring in 2025, especially considering that a lot of modern games have just become stagnated. This is one of those titles during the experimental age of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 that really shows creativity and the desire to make something new.
I'm sorry, Julia. I got some bad news.
Don't worry, bro. She already knows.